Good evening and welcome to KC Sports Tonight. It's Thursday, July 3rd, July 4th Eve. Neal, you're about to have to go out there and
have to go. I don't have to go out there. I get to go out.
Get to go out there in the heat.
You got to be in front of your computer all tomorrow. That's going to be a lot of fun here.
Yeah.
Marlea and I'll be out where it's going to be probably pretty good weather. I like hot weather, so we're going to be out there. Food trucks everywhere. Our managers don't really know what we're doing, so whatever we do
you're just
is
giving
kind
free reign. That's kind of scary.
Yeah, I mean, Marlea really wanted her face painted last year, the year before last. So she got to do that for free. The station paid for it. Then she got food. I went out and got food. I didn't know we had a food. We weren't supposed to spend over a certain amount, so I got there. They have a steak and lobster truck, and I went there. Marlea ate a hot dog. So, I mean, it worked out pretty well.
There you go. All right, Neal. Well, last night at this time of the day of the show, we did not know whether Bobby Witt Jr. was going to start in the All-Star game or not. The All-Star game starters were announced at 6 p.m., so just briefly after, and it was revealed that Athletics shortstop Jacob Wilson was given the AL starting spot. I brought this up to you this afternoon that I think it's a little ridiculous that in a sport in which Bobby Witt Jr. is very clearly the better player and I don't think has been demonstrably outplayed by Jacob Wilson in any regard other than simply batting average and total hits. If you look at extra base hits, total bases, stolen bases, home runs, all these different things, Bobby's been better. His defense has been better. I think that it's a little absurd that we're not holding the feet to the fire a little bit of Royals fans for not getting Bobby Witt Jr. into the All-Star game as a starter.
Now, what year the Royals stuffed the ballot box?
10 years ago.
When they went to Cincinnati?
2015, 10 years ago.
Right. And why did they do that? Because they'd gone to the World Series the year before, Game 7. And they were really good the first half of the next year, 2015. That's when they were voting. Everybody's voting. Everybody's playing for good teams. All the guys we voted for, yes, we in the media could vote. We're allowed to vote. And we voted for our guys because they were winning. This Royals team has been largely, even not just in Kansas City, it has been a disappointment. A lot of people had really predicted great things, maybe not great things, but good things for this team.
Yeah.
And they have not stepped up. And so it's natural for some fans and some people around the country, Royals fans around the country, they are less excited about the team. They are less likely to vote. I agree with you. Bobby Witt Jr. should be starting. It's ridiculous. I don't like the fact that the fans have such a hand in deciding what goes in. But it's not like the Athletics stuffed the ballot box unless the Sacramento fans are going nuts over this.
But that's you're arguing that it's about team success and such, but I understand the A's swept the Royals a couple weeks ago. They are still 5 games worse in the standings than the Royals. So it's not necessarily – so what I'm saying is –
But the local fans in Sacramento are probably more excited about having baseball in Sacramento. They're going out. They're watching the team. It's a different vibe than it is – Bobby Witt Jr. is a great player. We see what he does both in the field and at the plate. I mean, and I think the country has seen that a lot. But the fact is, I think that the Royals fans are probably less energized, believe it or not, than the Athletics fans.
I understand that people.
Did you
Royals,
vote?
I filled out a ballot once. Yeah,
okay.
So I did it at least once.
Once.
I will say this though. I think that it's absurd to say that for behind the scenes, I posted a story about this yesterday. There was a graphic. It said snubbed, and all of the comments seemingly on the KCTV Facebook page from Royals fans was, oh, Bobby hasn't been very good this year. Oh, Bobby doesn't deserve this. He is a top 5 player in the sport, top 7 player in the MLB, or top 5 in the AL, top 7 in the sport in terms of wins above replacement. He's clearly not playing to the level that he was last season, but last season he was a year in which he would have won MVP as long as Aaron Judge didn't exist. And
right.
Yes, of course he didn't win it. Last year he gets outvoted by Gunnar Henderson. So this is 2 years in a row. Last year it happened even despite the Royals having great on-field success. And so what I'm saying is
they weren't great last year.
At the All-Star break, they were in a playoff spot.
In a playoff spot, in an expanded playoffs. They were not great. They were not a great
So
team.
you're going to move the goalpost then?
I'm saying that when you are in first place like they were in 2015, you're going to get the votes, right? But they weren't. This team was not in first place a year ago, were they?
Yes, but they were. If you're talking about morale for Royals fans was so high at the All-Star break last year, and they still didn't get him into the All-Star game as a starter. So I just think that at some point, I don't understand why you and I, who are supposed to be rational and have nuanced, reasonable sports takes, are the ones, or at least I am. You're seemingly against Bobby in this case. Or I'm the one arguing that Royals fans should stick up for their guy a little bit more, and Royals fans online are being like, this guy stinks. He's not been very good this year.
You can't online. That's not real.
Well, that's where the voting is, Neal.
I'm saying that people that go on chat rooms, the weird places you spend your evenings on the internet. I mean weird. I mean like you get in depth. You that's your job as a digital manager, is to look around and see what people are writing, see what people are saying, not just about sports, but about news as well. So I get it. But you can't go by what they say on Twitter. You can't. But also, let's face it, online voting leaves out a lot of older people who are not going to get online to vote. And those are probably a lot of the people out at Kauffman Stadium. So I'm not outraged that they didn't vote for him, but clearly they should vote for him. And Gabe, I hate what they've done to the All-Star game. I hate it. The All-Star game used to have meaning. And you
liked it when it was determining home field advantage in the World
Series. I thought that was a step in the right direction. It wasn't perfect.
It was certainly fun. I don't know if it was
you had
right,
a reason.
But it was
it's
fun.
Better than when Bud Selig was in charge and they had a tie. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
We're not going to finish it because it's inconvenient. We didn't plan ahead. I mean, is there anything does anything epitomize baseball's failures of a period of about 20 years, starting with turning the blind eye? Well, first of all, they got into it with their Players Association and led to the 1995 strike. That was self-inflicted.
That was 30 years ago.
Okay, but it seemed like there was about 15 or 20 years where everything they did was wrong. And Rob Manfred, who I thought had a chance to be a great commissioner, comes out and says, well, the Astros cheated. Yeah, but they won they lost. But look, it's just a trophy. It's just a piece of hardware.
Yeah, I can agree that was ridiculous.
They have done some stupid things, and in my mind, the way that they pick the All-Star teams is just another stupid thing.
I don't know.
So I share you being upset.
I'm just saying.
I'm not like you. You were throwing stuff over there.
Yeah, that did happen. It was 52% to 48%, so it wasn't exactly some landslide. I'm just saying that I think Royals fans could have stepped up a little bit more and.
But wouldn't you be more angered? Wouldn't you be more angered though? Seriously, if it were the Yankees who, because they've got so many more fans. If the Yankees got their shortstop in.
No, I think that's why it's more frustrating, is because it's a small team like the A's.
But look where they're playing for the first time. They are in Sacramento. Look, I'm from Oklahoma City. When what was it? The New Orleans Hornets. When the Hornets lost their home because of Hurricane Katrina, and they had to find some place to go, Oklahoma City was ready and waiting. We wanted them here, but we didn't have the arena in place. We weren't ready to go. Oklahoma City had a brand new arena. They were ready to bring a team in. They brought them in. And you cannot believe how excited those fans were to have professional basketball, to have any professional team. It was unbelievable. I think it's the same thing in Sacramento.
I don't know. I've seen a lot of games in Sacramento this year, and there's a lot of empty seats.
Yeah, I have.
And that's a team, and they know that they could not have MLB baseball next year.
I'm not sure they have MLB baseball this
now.
year,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
to be honest
there
with you.
Go.
But I am glad that you are upset and passionate about something, because usually when I walk by, it's like, that's right, Marley. I really think it's wrong what they're doing. And
Okay.
I think it's just terrible.
Well, speaking of the Royals and things to be upset about, and things that I think have bled into the overall perception of the season that Bobby Witt Jr. has had, the Royals could not score enough again last night. They lose 3-2. Salvador Perez drove in both runs. Bobby Witt Jr. went 2 for 2 walks though.
I think Benny had a hit, and I think that may have been it.
Yeah. What do you make about what the Royals have done in Seattle this week.
Look, baseball, you can't. You got to play. You can't run out the clock. You can't switch to the option for. Let's run option football. You can't do little gimmicks. At the end of the day, the pitcher pitches and the batters hit. And if the pitcher can't get him out, you got a problem. And if the batters can't hit, you got a problem. Well, the Royals have had a problem. I'll tell you what's interesting. I went back. I was at home last night, and I have YouTube TV, so I can't get the games, and it's frustrating. So I was following the game on ESPN.com, and so I could just see pitch by pitch by pitch. And I was also following the Dodgers game against the White Sox because they were going on at the same time. And I'm like, why did Cameron leave the game after 80 pitches, 4 2/3 innings, and he gave up no runs? I didn't know what had happened, and I came into work, and you and Greg Daly explained to me. Yeah, so that made a little more sense. But their inability to score runs, after a while, it's what you are. You know, you'd like to think, well, maybe these guys will get hot, and I think that it's possible that some of the guys will get hot at the top of the lineup. But I think they have too many people that are they're not going to hit. And maybe they hit one time 2 years ago, or maybe they hit a little bit of last year, but they've had a pretty good sample. They got 75 games left, so the season's far from being over. And we are not in Los Angeles where they can buy their way out of problems, you know, where they can say, look, let's just throw so much money at Team XYZ to get a player that they'll take it. It's just not going to happen. So I don't know what the answer is. Their pitching continues to be pretty good, and that's what kind of makes it frustrating. If they didn't have pitching, think how bad they'd be. If they had hitting, think about how great they'd be.
Yeah, exactly. But the outfielders, if you date back to the San Diego series, if you are playing outfield for the Royals, they're batting a combined 140. I think it's like 14 for the last 130 something. It's been pretty atrocious. They play again tonight at 9:10.
Let me ask you this: at what point do you look at your right fielder, who, by the way, now I don't watch every game because I can't see him, but when I do watch, I think he plays pretty good right field. For a guy that they said, oh, he's got like size 18 feet, he's never going to be able to play the outfield, he looks pretty good. He doesn't take great angles to balls. He made that great diving catch the other day on a play that he shouldn't have been diving, because if it gets by him, it's forever. It's a triple or worse.
Yeah, I think the defense has been decent from Caglione, but he's getting tonight off. He's not in the lineup tonight.
So he's learning.
Needs it.
This is a learning experience, and we all remember Mike Moustakas said it was better to come up and fail and go back down than not to come up. Because he goes, look, I needed to see what the big league pitching was about. I needed to get the feel of being on a big league team. I needed to know what it was like. And when I came back the second time, I was ready to succeed. So I'm glad they've got him up there. But my question to you is this: at what point do you say he's now hurting us so much we can't leave him up?
Well, I think he's hurting them to a certain extent, but I don't think that the numbers are as – I don't think that he's been as bad as the numbers have indicated.
And who would they bring up? It's not like they've got 5 guys in the minors like, my gosh, you got other guys raking, bring them up. They don't have that.
No, they've brought up John Rave. He was raking in AAA. He's not been as good at the major league level. They brought up Drew Waters way earlier this season. He has not delivered. The only other option really is bringing MJ Melendez back up, and he has not necessarily crushed AAA pitching. I think he's hitting like 230 in Omaha, and that's over the last 2+ months now.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty decent sized sample.
Can you believe how great he was? He came to the bigs. He was playing catcher. He could not catch. He was a bad catcher, but his bat was so good they had to play him. Can you believe that his bat was so good that he had to be on the big league club and he could hit? What happened? What happened?
I think that's what Royals fans are saying about a lot of the hitting development and the direction of the hitting department for this team at this point. And you look at every other team that's at the bottom of these standings, and a lot of them have fired their hitting coach, and the Royals have not done that yet.
Firing people isn't always the answer, but sometimes it is.
But in sports, it seems to be.
Let's move on back. Let's move on to the WNBA reaction. First of all, were you surprised that Kansas City was not selected?
I was not surprised that they weren't selected, given the fact that most of the teams that they pick are in NBA cities.
TV markets. They're in bigger TV markets.
And I think that, yes, things are coming into shape. I think today's statement from the Long family, the owners of the Current, which they revealed that they're willing to put money into a specifically built for training WNBA facility for the Kansas City area. That is new information that I'm sure that the WNBA is aware of, but I think that they would need a team to pair with along those lines to get a team to Kansas City. And in some regard, they're just going uphill because they're not an NBA city. And these teams, even the productive WNBA teams that you see in the smaller markets like the Indiana Fever, at least they're attached to the Pacers in terms of ownership. So there's certainly hurdles. There's also major NBA cities that still don't have a team. Miami comes to mind. Sophie Cunningham mentioned that. Boston comes to mind as a historic NBA city that does not have a WNBA team yet.
Boston, that's a different place.
But I'm just who knows what the but yes, at some point I think it makes plenty of sense. You've seen the level of commitment that the Current have gotten. This ownership group is the ones who want to bring it there.
But let me ask you this. I think it'd be great if they came. Absolutely. Especially right now. But you're up against a women's soccer team that's playing really well, that has a great facility built for them, that is a red-hot property right now. Not a property to own, but I mean, they're red hot. People want to go to the games. They want to own their gear. They love the stadium. The stadium's only going to get better. They're putting parking in. My daughter just moved down there. Is living in an apartment right down the street. The place is going to be red hot. That's going to be really going. You've got Sporting KC. You got the Royals. Those are three groups that you're going to be trying to sell tickets against. And if you're playing in a really big arena, if you're trying to play in the T-Mobile Center downtown, I don't know what the break-even point is, it's a little different. I think it might be more attractive to the WNBA if you say, look, if you come here, we'll build you your own arena. We'll have, like 9,000 seats or 10,000 seats. It'll be tight. It'll be exciting. It'll have the best laser light show, and it will be for women, like we did with soccer. I think that would be very attractive. They're getting a lot of these soccer events, women's events, Big 12 women's soccer tournament, because it's built for women. I mean, I talked to their very, very impressive general manager of the Current, Caitlin Carducci, when I was doing a thing on the World Cup, and she talked about how everybody was like, this is so cool. These are men's international federations who are looking at practice facilities for their teams, and they're like, this is so neat they've done this for women. This is something that needs to happen more. Maybe they take the same approach with the WNBA. I don't know. I know they want to be in NBA arenas, and if you've got a good team and you've got a superstar, then you can make it work. But you're trying to sell tickets against two very popular soccer teams and a Major League Baseball team.
Yeah, and the WNBA is mostly throughout the summer.
Are you outraged?
No, I'm not. I'm not outraged. I think that it eventually could become a thing. They're at 18 teams. As of the most recent expansion, they'll be at 18 teams. And that's once Toronto, Portland, Cleveland, Detroit, and Philadelphia all come into shape.
All right, before we get into our last thing, which is marriage advice for Gabe. By the way, I put that on there. I suggested it. I didn't think he wouldn't have put it on there, but I put it on there so it'll force us to talk about it. But before that, I believe that everyone's like, the Kansas City Star put out their, and they do a great job covering the Chiefs. They they're out their 53-man, their prediction for the 53-man roster late last night, early this morning, online or in the paper edition of the Kansas City Star. And I think for the most part, it's kind of what you would expect. My question is this. I believe there could be two starters from last year during the prime of the season who might not be on the team. I'm not saying they won't be, but I'm saying they could end up not being on the team. For me, it is Wanye Morris and the running back we got from Cleveland.
Kareem Hunt.
Kareem Hunt did a great job coming in out of nowhere, coming in off the couch. He's a great story. I'm rooting for him. So, and I'm rooting for Wanye Morris. Wanye Morris is one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. Where did he play college football?
Oklahoma.
University of Oklahoma. Where did I go to school?
Oklahoma.
If I had graduated, he and I would have the same degree. But so I don't want this to happen, but I think Wanye Morris could end up being the odd man out. Just I don't he can play. I'm not sure he can play guard, but I know he can play right tackle or left tackle, and I think they like him. And I also believe last year he was playing hurt. He had a knee problem.
Oh, yeah.
During last year. So it's possible that he could be significantly improved this year. And then my other one is Kareem Hunt, because I think that they brought in, we heard Andy Reid. Andy Reid is really excited about Pacheco's
recovery,
his recovery from injury. He was at the league meetings and talking about the fact that, boy, this guy, he looks like a different player. He's really going to be impressive. They brought in a couple of more guys, so I think it's possible that you have two players who saw significant time starting last year that might not even be on the team this year.
Yeah, I think that I agree with your Kareem Hunt take, in the sense that I said this to Marlia on Tuesday when we were talking about the running backs.
Say it like you said it to Marlia. Well, Marlia, I really think it'd be important.
I think that there's a decent chance that he gets cut at the end of training camp and then re-signs to the practice squad, because I don't necessarily see a lot of other NFL teams rushing to the table to sign a 30-year-old running back.
Yep.
But at the same time, he does provide value to the Chiefs specifically as someone who knows how to do all of the things in the offense that they need, and in a pinch.
Hey,
if
they won with him.
Yeah,
I'm not making fun of him. I mean, he came in and they won largely with him, and he did the job when it would have been very difficult to get somebody to come in and pick up what is a very complicated offense. So I'm rooting for him too, but I think you're right.
Yeah, and then Wanye Morris, I mean, I think he'll be on the roster. I think that ideally he's not starting anywhere other than if absolutely necessarily playing right tackle. He looks more comfortable playing right tackle.
I hope he shocks us all. And
But-
we're like, you know what? He was hurt last year. Look at him now. He's playing at a decent level. If he plays, I think it's going to have to be on the right side rather than left.
And maybe his future's different once Jawan Taylor's career in Kansas City is over, but who knows? All right.
Finally, marriage advice.
A couple minutes before we got to go.
Okay. Now, bear in mind, I've known Gabe's wife longer than Gabe has. True?
That's true.
And I've been married for 33 years. My wife says that includes like 5 of the best years of her life. And so my wife plays golf. Does your wife play golf?
Occasionally.
Occasionally. You need to get her playing more. I'm concerned by this. My wife went out and played today without me and called me to tell me how she shot. She played well. She's in a golf league over where you used to work at St. Andrews. Mm-hmm. She's having a blast. You need to get your wife on the golf course. And secondly, your wife has been going out with all of her sorority sisters around the country doing all this stuff. And they were in the same sorority. Your wife was a Theta at KU. My wife was a Theta at Oklahoma. Trust me, I've been down this road. Get her off the Theta train, because she's going to have more fun with them than she'll ever have with you. That's what happened with me. I said, Liz, I'm tired of you having fun. Oh, we went out to San Diego with my sorority sisters. It's hard to compare with that when you're me, okay?
I mean, there was a trip to Scottsdale in June, which, as somebody who lived in Arizona for multiple years, I wouldn't advise, but I was okay with it. I wasn't.
Didn't she go to Miami too, or Mexico or something?
No. I think you're seeing things. But that as far as I'm aware, there's been no trips to Florida and no trips to Mexico.
And you're cool with this?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, all right, Royals tonight at 9:10. Neal will have sports at 6 in a couple minutes, and then...
Hey, we have 2 minutes real quick. I just read that you and I are going to help train our newest employee, who's an experienced reporter photographer. She's working over in Topeka. She's been covering KU and K-State for the last couple of years.
Katie.
She's really, really talented. We're thrilled to get her. I just read on the schedule, you and I are going to show her how to do this job. All they get are complaints about me.
A lot of me and not as much of you.
All they do is get complaints about me, and they want me to show her how to do this. I think you should.
Not my call. Yeah, that's probably what'll be happening. So, all right, we'll enjoy the 4th. We will have no KC Sports Night tomorrow. Stars and Stripes picnic. Neal will be out there. Marlia will be out there.
And next
best
week,
place to watch
Gabe's going to be wearing a tie. He's going to be dressing like a professional starting next week.